Chloe, I want to talk to you about the select committee yesterday, Finance and Expenditure, and the grilling that you gave Nicola Willis, and you got from her a piece of information, which is that they're not going to buy, we're not going to buy our way overseas out of the climate change obligations. But is the government actually on track currently for the next couple of climate budgets? And, is this something that we need to be freaking out about?
Well, a lot to unpack in all of that. So I guess first things first, what you're talking about in that grilling with Nicola Willis is something called our nationally determined contributions under the Paris Agreement. It's really important to note that this is something that was initially signed up to under John Key's national government.
Yeah.
So those nationally determined...
Never have the words, this is not John Key's national party anymore, been truer.
Contributions are basically all countries all across the world saying, hey, look, we need to stay below 1.5 degrees of warming, which is necessary for life on Earth as we know it. And here is what each of us individually as countries are going to do to meet those carbon emissions reductions. So other countries don't care how we meet that nationally determined contribution, those NDCs. We either do it domestically here at home or we pay other countries to reduce their emissions. Long story short, basically because successive governments have kicked the can down the road on this issue, we knew back when actually James Shaw was the Minister for Climate Change that we were going to have to rely on working with other countries to reduce their emissions as well as doing everything that we can do here domestically at home. However, since this government has come to power, they of course have shredded climate action, which has increased the liability for us to pay other countries to reduce their emissions because this government is refusing to do that here at home. So what happened at the Select Committee yesterday is I got on the public record that our Minister of Finance, in line with the Minister of Climate Change and our Prime Minister, have all committed to meeting the Paris Agreement nationally determined contribution. What that means is we have a commitment to meet it. And they are showing through their actions that we're not going to meet that domestically, which entails that we must therefore be paying other countries to meet that NDC.
David, where does this... I'm confused.
Nuance, explanation, history of this, what we need to do, what we're going to do, right? That's Chloe. Seymour? Nuh-uh. That's his move.
Because there's a Ministry for the Environment report that was out just 2 days ago now, and it says that we are on track to reach 2050 net zero goals. The next two budgets, emissions budgets, will be met. If you look at our emissions overall in the last year, they've actually come down. So I'm confused. We're hearing that we're not good, but then we're hearing from the Ministry of the Environment that maybe we are. What's going on?
Well, it's pretty simple. New Zealand is not going to win any friends internationally or at home by killing our own economy in order to satisfy some target that other countries themselves are not actually pursuing seriously.
New Zealand is not going to win any friends by accepting and running with that clean green image, the 100% pure image that we know are known for, I think a little bit on the dodge, but are known for from around the world. New Zealand is not going to win any friends by being focused on the environment and nature over profit. That's literally what he's saying. I would like to put that to the tourism minister and see what they would have to say about that, because I think that's one of the reasons, the exact reasons, why New Zealand and how New Zealand wins international friends.
By some target that other countries themselves are not actually pursuing seriously. We will do what the rest of the world does, but we're not going to send New Zealand farmers and New Zealand industry and New Zealand jobs overseas to pursue, frankly, a political goal.
So that
that's
seems
as simple as that.
You seem to be saying that we're not going to go ahead with do the Paris thing. If it's going to cost us. If others aren't doing it, then we won't do it either.
That's right. I mean, we are not going to be the last people at the party, because that is A, bad for the economy, and B, bad for the environment.
Chloe, does that contradict what Nick...
How, just out of interest, missed question, Mr. Bridge, how would being the last people at the party, meaning the only ones who are still trying to adhere to a decrease of climate emitting gases, etc., how would that being the last one at the party trying to achieve that be bad for the environment? Because I don't know if you said that at the end when Ryan started talking over it. He says it would be bad for the economy and bad for the environment, being that person. Listen again and then we'll let it go into Chloe.
is A, bad for the economy, and B, bad for the environment.
Chloe, does that contradict what Nicola told you yesterday?
It is a basket of contradictions, and the Minister of Finance contradicted herself in her own answers, let alone the stand up to the media after that select committee. But if I can just go back to that point that was being made just then about our farmers. Farmers are among those hit first and worst by climate change because of the fact that climate change contributes obviously to increasing frequency and severity of climate change charged weather events, but also it ultimately contributes to an atmosphere which means less predictability when it comes to our food growing capacity. So actually ensuring that we are investing in the just transition for our farmers is about building resilience and ensuring that we can grow high quality good food into the
and yet
future.
somehow New
Climate
Zealand's
change, I
farmers
also need to know, is a cost of living disaster.
Out of business in order to achieve that goal.
No one is saying that. In fact, what the Green Party has consistently shown is how
We're
it
moving
I
on.
don't think
support
you're the
them.
right
We're moving
person
on.
to tell farmers what they need.